Hi, my name is Jamal Ashraf. I wanted to talk about Java, Bytecode, and IDEs available for Java. This is for Pasadena City College Computer Science Department. Uh, so to talk about that, I want to go over some stuff first. Uh, So we are talking about the Java compiler and IDEs. A lot of times we mix them up. When we're talking about IDE, we're talking about compiler. When we're talking about the compiler, we're talking about IDEs. But in general, I mean, honestly, it doesn't really matter which one is which, but let's be clear about it. So when we're talking about the compiler is the one that's going to take our code and it's going to change it to binary code. So the computer, as you know, it does understand only, uh, so the computer only knows binary code. So the computer only understands 0 and 1. So when we're writing programs, we are going to be changing our code, which is high-level language, to a binary code. We don't have to worry about it. We don't know what's happening under the seat, but we just want to talk about it in general. So that's the language of computer. So no matter what you're doing, at the end, it has to be zeros and ones for the computer to understand. Now, the traditional C, C++, when you compile your program, is going to create that binary code, meaning that you will have a binary code. So you're going to be installing it and then you're going to run it. The problem with that was that binary code was dependent to the machine. So the compiler would take the consideration of what kind of machine you're using, 32-bit machine, 64-bit machine, what kind of a structure it has, and they would do it that way. And the problem with that was if you would compile it in one machine, then it wouldn't run in a different machine. So that was a problem. So to solve that, Java and Python came along with something they call it virtual machine. So when we are writing code in Java, and we compile it, it doesn't compile it to binary, it compiles it to something called bytecode. So when you run your program in other machines, the Java virtual machine, that JVM, will take your bytecode and it's going to translate it to the machine that you're using. That way it would be machine independent and it would run it in all the machines. Of course, it's going to take a little more time because it's going to do it in the runtime. So it's going to be a little bit slower than C++. But on the other side of it is it can work with all of those things. So all of those machines. So the idea is we need a compiler to do this for us. So the compiler that we're talking about is going to take our code and it's going to change it to bytecode for Java. Let me clear this out. So if you go to Oracle, I'm going to post this in the classroom, and they all have the links that you want to go in there. So if you go to Oracle, you can practically get the compiler in there. So if I go to my So if we go to Oracle, then it would have the Java download in there. Sometimes you are running something on the internet or a web or something, and they say you're missing JVM, Java Virtual Machine, and that's going to be a problem that you have to download it. In general, we do need the Java compiler to be able to compile our programs. Then we go to the IDE. IDE, basically, they are editors. So old-fashioned way, we would have a text editor like Notepad or something similar to that, that we would write the code and we would compile. The IDE is going to give us a little more tool than that. It's going to highlight our keyword. It's going to give us some suggestions. We can bring up the modules, put the modules together. So they have, depending of what is it that we want to do, it has a big range of things to offer us. So a basic IDEs would it be something like BlueJ or Dr. Java that you can just bring any program and just run it. It is very light, so the installation is going to be not big a problem. It's just going to do it. Remember, every time you download any kind of IDE, they need that compiler with it. So when you're downloading IDE, you got to be sure that you bring the compiler with it, or you download the compiler first, then you install your IDE, then it's going to go and look for your compiler. So you need two things, compiler and your IDE. And when we go outside of these basic ones, there are some major ones that's available. Of course, the major ones coming from the Oracle. They used to call it NetBeans, and they still around. But the Oracle bought Java from Sun Microsystem a while back, and it is free to use, and they are supporting it as open source, meaning that everything is available to us. So we can go to Oracle and download the JDK for it. Of course, you can get lost over there because Oracle is offering a lot of stuff, and basically you can create the whole environment in the server side, in the client side, in the database side. It's a lot of stuff in there. But what we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing something similar to, so if we go to Oracle, if you go to Java side, you're going to see all of these things that can potentially get confusing. But we're going to just focus on the SE one. That's going to be the development part for us. And then we can download the JDK. And when you go there, you're going to be sure that you have your compiler with it. So that way you can install it and use it. So being Oracle, because it can provide you a lot more stuff, then you can expect to be a little bit bigger environment. You don't need to go to the more complicated one, which is the industry one. We just can stay with the basic one to do it. And of course, later on, when your project is going to get bigger and you can add more of a graphic interface to it, more if you want to add a database to it, or you want to add more modules, this environment is going to help you a lot. So if you have worked with something like Qt environment, it's not going to be too far from this one. They basically all going to look and feel the same. And me being here in PCC and teaching all three, Java, Python, and C++, I was looking for some kind of environment that I can use for all three of them. That way my environment would be one of one, and then I can switch between those. So the first one that I looked at was JetBrains. I was looking at the Python environment in there, PyCharm. I see that the students like their CLion for the C++, and of course they have a big, huge Java environment in there. So if I go to the JetBrains over here somewhere, so you have all of these available in there. So for us, would it be so for us, it's going to be the one for Java. Of course, if you are taking other classes, you can download the whole, all three of them. So it would look and feel the same. The next one is Eclipse. That has been popular in industry, mainly to be transparent for different environments. So Eclipse has been around and it's been popular up there. And again, Eclipse is one of those things that has all three of them, Java, Python, and C++ for my purposes. But of course, there is some other ways of doing it. So you can download either one of these things. And I want to add that PCC has created something called AppStream. And this app stream is basically not downloading stuff on your computer, but you're going to be running it through the cloud in Amazon cloud. So if you go to our, and again, you have the link over there, so you can click on the link. But if you go to our the school and look for the app stream, we have a section that's called app stream, and right now it's 2.0. And these are the ones that's available in the school. And of course, for us, it's going to be under computer information, computer science. And they have stuff like uh, Eclipse, and they have, I think that's the only one for us. They have Java FX, but that is, yeah, the only thing that we can use in here would be this Eclipse for Java. And the good thing about it is the compiler is not going to be your computer, so you can launch the software through here. So you can launch the software through here, and you have to use your PCC with the go.pasadena.edu email to be able to launch it, and then you can just run it in your cloud. That way you don't have to worry about that downloading. So this is what I want to put out there for you guys. And if you have any questions or anything that you want to talk about, let me know. And this is some brief discussion about IDEs and what's available. For me, it really doesn't matter which one you use. I sometimes use the Dr. Java just to run your program and test it. I don't need the whole environment. I am used to Oracle NetBeans environment. I was doing that in industry for quite a few years. And the reason I liked it is because it had everything that I wanted, so I don't have to look around. Everything was available over there for the server side, the client side, connecting it to the database, and all those kind of things. So everything was available to me. And most likely, if you end up with a company that's already established, I would say that is good. Like most likely that you're going to have this one in there. Another thing that I want to mention is there is a lots of documentation in here. So if you want to look up things, so if you go to the Oracle site, so if you go to the Oracle site, let me get this one. Oops, sorry. So if you go to the Oracle site, there is a lot of documentation in there that you can use, including the tutorials that you can have. There are some Java tutorials up there in Oracle. There are all kind of things available in there, lots of documentation. Some of them are a little more of a hardcore documentation. That means some of us not going to be very comfortable reading them, but there is a lot of help available in there. You might want to check it out to see how does it look for you, how you like it, and so on. So I'm going to end this right now, and I hope that this helps you to decide which IDE you want. I would strongly suggest to download the IDE, play with it a little bit to be sure that you are comfortable with it. That way you don't have no hiccups. If you have any questions, if you get any problems, just send me a note or go to the discussion questions and post your questions. I created a PQ for you over there, so you can send your questions in there, or you can send it to me and then we go from